testing to see what this looks like. So this is not my live. I am just testing because I'm trying to figure out how to get my lives to go this direction. So let me see what it looks like. All right, let's see what it looks like. Oh, look at that. Well, I guess we'll stay live then. A little bit live, a little bit early today. I also want to do a oh, I got retouch. Ooh, look at that. Retouch is on. What else can I do? I don't know. But once again, I am not getting any chats. So yeah, that's that. But here we are. We're live. We are doing live. Let me turn my analytics on because I can't see it. Oh, wait. Today I'm seeing the chat. Pat, on your cell phone, is that showing the whole screen or just a little bit? He's coming in here to show me.
Yeah, it's the whole screen.
Good. Look, we upped our game. But, okay. Well, that's good. That's good. That's good. Look what I got to do. Can you see that? Should we see if we won some money? I think we should. I think we should. Hold on. We can do this together.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just get my clipboard, my lucky clipboard out. Hold on, it's dirty. Put a piece of paper right behind it. Bye guys. Have a great day. Everybody's leaving the house. All right. So here we are. We will see what we have. Hey, thank you, Lisa. Welcome. So I am gonna do a lunchtime live. Let me turn. Look, you know I'm a hot mess always. So anyway, oh, and Lisa, I was thinking about you again today. I don't know. It's just taking water or housewarming gifts. So I was thinking, you know, why instead of buying those expensive bottles, there has to be a way to refill them. So I'm going to check at Michael's Craft Store or Hobby Lobby for some really interesting bottles. And I know how easy it is to use the etching to create wonderful hostess gifts for anybody that, you know, just a cool hostess gift to have an etched bottle, and then they can refill the water bottles or whatever. But yeah, I love the blue bottles. Yeah, and then like with those blue ones, I found them at the grocery store. I'm gonna save them and get the labels off to put the lights. You can buy the little twinkle lights to stick inside bottles. So yeah, I got it. But today was a boring day, so I picked up some lottery tickets to see if possibly we can get some money. So let's see what numbers we have, and then we'll go on. But in the meantime, I was thinking about, I had looked up online like journal entries. I do not journal because truthfully, I think it would traumatize my children to go back in life and read my thoughts. And I don't know, there's just something about it. But I know a lot of people that do journal and journal faithfully. And my mom has kept journals for years and years and years and years and has said to me, when I pass, I'm going to will you all my journals. And I said, Mom, I'm one of 10 kids. I'm second to the oldest. So she was like 21 when she had me. I said, we lived life together. Leave it to the youngest kids. They don't know the first half of our history. So anyway, but one of the questions that came up was, what does home feel like? And I started thinking about that, and I was like, what does it feel like? You know, that's such an interesting question, because what does it feel like in my mind? Or what is it that I'm trying to create? Or is there a certain thing? Then I realized, for home, for me, it really is the smell. Certain smells evoke memories and really create Sorry, I wasn't expecting to go live because I was trying to figure out the camera thing. Anyway, here we are. But it really evokes memories with a sense of home and well-being, or what I think about when I do think about home. It's all related to smells. If I smell certain smells, it will remind me of my grandmother's house or my mother's house, or when we lived in Hawaii, if I smell pineapples, just like a random smell, it's like, oh, and that's what evokes the feeling of home to me more than a place. But if I had to pick a place that felt like home, I think I would pick the ocean and sitting on the beach. And I'm not sure if that's what they meant, but there's something about the smell of the salt, the hearing the waves, the silkiness of just running my hands through the soothingness of sand. So I think all in all, for me, it is definitely the ocean, and that's where I'm drawn to the most. Whereas I know other family members, my daughter and my son, have said it's the mountains and out in the woods. That's where they have always felt more at home when they were walking. So, do we create our environment to reflect our most soothing moments? Is that what our environments are about? Or do we have different places in our environments, like some that are energetic, some that are soothing, some that are transitional, because like my children's rooms, that okay, that's their room and can remain their room for 5 years after they move out. um I don't know, it's just an interesting concept, because I don't necessarily think that, for me, being home, like connected to my mother's house, the silent true peace. Ah, that's yours. Yeah, I think my children have already said I was planning on retirement, getting closer to water, but my children have said, no, mom, we're moving, west, more west in the state. My daughter's going to be closer, in the city, and my son has said he wants to go that way. So it looks like we will actually retire towards the mountains. But I think with this day and age and with the economy, people have to sort of kind of rethink how what it looks like. I think we have gotten so far away from a nuclear family. We don't live on the same blocks anymore with our grandparents, our great grandparents, our aunts and uncles, and that used to be, that's how it was when I was raised, in the 70s. And then in the 80s and 90s, now people spread out. And I think with the economy and the expense and where things have gotten, now we're starting to have to draw back together. So my daughter is very settled in a relationship with a wonderful young man, and the parents we actually really, really, really adore. And their son is also going to, settle west of here. So it looks like we're all moving west. But now we've entered discussions, just kind of touching base. And my son wants to homestead. And I said, well, if we buy a tract of property, pool it, but have enough that it can be subdivided and we all have our own space, yet we would still be there. So many other cultures in so many other areas still do that. And it's interesting for me to think, oh, wow, the possibility that I will buy land with my son or another family to create an area where we all are centralized is really actually really going up in the realm of possibilities for a multitude of reasons. But and then I think, wow, this isn't something new. It's something old that we'd migrated away from, and then now we're going back to. And I kind of think it's sad that we lost it all together. being so far away from family. My kids don't have that close relationship with their cousins or their uncles and their aunts. They're all great people. Nothing's wrong with them. We just live out of their realm. And truthfully, because when I left home, I still had siblings that were in elementary school. Hi, go, welcome. Thank you for dropping in. Because I had siblings that were still in elementary school, there's not even a common bond that we can even call each other and joke about or remember because we don't have shared memories because of our age. So I think that growing together or creating this place where would be centralized once again is kind of really an exciting thought. Now, we're looking at a 15-year plan. Actually, so I know Lisa, you are at your break at work, right? And Iga, what are you cooking good today? Let us know. We were talking about home. What do you think? When you think of the word home, is it a smell? Is it a feel? Is it a place? Is it an environment? Do you try to recreate it in your in your in your house, in your environment? The more I think about just that concept and topic, I can even look around and see maybe not so much in for me, I'm an ocean person, but I can look around and see the colors that I have surrounded myself really reflects uh, more, an outdoor. I mean, you guys are just looking at my bookcase, but the outdoor environment. Until I agree. I agree. Yep. Well, and it's like I told my son. At one point, my cousin was. They had like a rental, a lake place, but they were in a campground, and they had a destination trailer that is moved there. And I said, honestly, truthfully, when I retire, like when I'm in my fourth chapter of life, I don't need a house this size. A destination trailer, which would have a loft for whoever comes, spends the night, and has a bedroom, and you can sweep the whole thing. That would be great to put on. She would go to the university overseas if necessary. Oh, there you go. But yeah, I said I just want to plot on the land to put a destination trailer. I don't need a whole new spot, and then that frees up everything to be able to do. I mean, they are unbelievable. Those destination trailers. They are crazy, 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 and truthfully, at that age, at the ultimate downsize, we're talking fourth chapter, is the feeling, the warmth, and the environment. So, how do you recreate? Either do you find yourself recreating childhood memories within your space in order to feel that, or yeah, I mean, it's such a, I don't know. I think my whole house is kind of a mood, but yeah. I think for me too, it's the textures of things that are around me. I might have, like, I obviously, because I had children, my house and furniture before children was very, very modern, a lot of sharp edges, a lot of whatever. And so when we moved, we had actually been living in Hawaii at the time. So when we moved to the East Coast, we knew we were going to stay in this area. I bought substantial, heavy, like adult furniture. And now I'm like, oh, I really want my other furniture back. But I think for me, where I brought in that memory and what evoked home to me were also the textures of the blankets or the pillows, the satin, something that I could actually feel and touch, as well as the candles that I burn. I love the smell of citrus, and like vanilla is okay, and I do that some, but for me it's that citrus with the clove undertones. Oh, that is my, and I know it's because in the wintertime, with having the dry heat or running the fireplaces, there would always be the water that had the orange peel, and it would have the cloves in it. Um, so that smell is the smell that always relaxes me. That and Vicks. I mean, truthfully, who doesn't think Vicks reminds you of being pampered by your parent? You know, that even my kids, because Vicks, there's just something about that smell that is honestly, for me, is the best. Yeah. Even sometimes if I can't sleep, I have Vicks beside my bed in every room. I think I have it in every room of the house. Just that smell of Vicks is the best. That's one of my, honestly, I think that's when I'm feeling blue or feeling how to anything, just not feeling rah or needing to really sleep, putting Vicks on my head with a towel across my eyes. I think that's my super sleep secret of all times, is that Vicks. But in it cannot be the off brand. But okay, so grew up with horses, right? And there was this horse salve, and it was brown. Oh, Joy dish detergent for me. Oh yes, Joy, that's it. But so I don't even know what the name of the horse salve is, and if I go to get it, I have to go through all of the salves, and it's a brown uh, salve, and it was in this metal container, and it was forever, and it was for sore. Hey, Jim, what is the horse salve that's for sore muscles or when they're slow, and it's in a metal container, and it's brown. It's very sticky feeling, and you can use it for like a scrape or a cut, but it's like Vicks mellowed down. That's the smell of we're talking about what evokes memories or feelings of home and what home smells like. But that horse salve is what we always called it. And if we got hurt at my granddaddy's house or got anything, we go get the horse salve. And I don't even know if it did anything, but that's one smell. That and tobacco, pipe tobacco. It has to be the cherry pipe tobacco. Oh, that is so smoothing, because that was my granddaddy's smell. I think, so for me, once again, I'm going back to the smells are more what evokes home to me. Uh, and Ego says, hers is the feeling, the warmth of the environment. So hers must be, yeah, that's probably what it is. The Soar No More. Oh, we just called it horse salve, but it's been around forever and ever. That is one. No matter what you have, that's better than a Band-Aid for a boo-boo. Put your horse salve on. Go get the horse salve. Go get the horse salve. I remember one time I was doubling on the back of a bike, and so I was sitting on, like, in old days you would have the bike and it would have the metal piece. House was the safe place. She planted mint. Oh, there you go. There you go. We had, so on the back of the bike, it was like for where you could hook your books up or carry something on the back of the metal thing. I was sitting there, and I had my feet out to the side, but I was tired of holding my legs out. We were driving, or I was riding, we were going to the pool. I must have been like 5 years old, small. And I went to put my feet on the little bolts that held the wheel together, and somehow my left heel went into the spokes, and it oh my God, it chewed the whole back edge of my foot off, and it broke all the spokes, and they're carrying me home, and I'm just crying. And that where we lived had, or my grandparents' house, they had just opened a hospital. They had never had one in this area before. Just opened like the week before. And my granddaddy was putting me in the back, and I was crying, saying, I don't think the horse salve is going to fix this. I don't think the horse salve, because I didn't have a heel left. So it was crazy. But yeah, that's it meant. Isn't it interesting? My favorite comfort smell is the mixture of hay and horse manure. Yes, specifically horse manure. Yeah, there's something that's different. Though, yeah, cow and pig. Yeah, that is. But I don't know if it's because their feed is sweet. No, just horse manure just has a special smell. That was whenever. Hold on, I got Marley. He wants to come. He says it's his turn to be up with us. Whenever we would be stressed or couldn't figure out something or upset, my mother would always say, go muck out the barns. Nothing that shoveling a little won't cure. Go figure it out. And it's true. There's nothing like shoveling manure to give your mind something, I don't know, to bring stuff into focus. There's just something. That's true. If I have a heavy decision or really confused, to go sit in a barn and just physically shovel manure, it kind of puts the rest of life into perspective. That's for sure. Does for sure. Marley says nothing's in perspective. He's, yeah, and I don't know if it puts the world. Yeah, there's something about, I think when you're on the farm or in at a barn, when there's something that strips away pretenses of the world. Yes, aren't they great memories? Aren't they great memories? And those are the things I would like to write down, like in terms of journaling for my kids, like that type of, yeah, I remember this was so distinct in, this family member, or I remember, so my great granddaddy, I'm not a tall person. Know, I know I look tall, and I think I'm 5'8" because I have body dysmorphia. So I really do believe I'm 5'8", but I'm 5 feet on a good day. And I just remember now, all the men in my family are over 6 feet, very tall, very very tall. My mom, I think, is 5'8", or was, and but I remember going to granddaddy's house. So this was my great grandfather. And because they kept the bedroom doors closed, we would walk down this long, dark hall. And I remember everybody would be so loud. Hey, it seemed like everybody was screaming. Well, now I know he was deaf. So everybody was yelling because he was deaf. But I just remember him standing up and me looking up, up, up. So I always thought he was a giant, and like going down that hall was going to the cave of the giants around all these giant people. I was like, it's funny how, a slightly creative mind and then will change the story. And it was, oh yeah, my granddaddy was 7 feet tall, and we had to go through this tunnel. It's interesting. So I just remember thinking, oh. But those are the memories I'll write for my kids. And I do think that as we do things in life, and you're like, what? Why can I do this? Or why does this feel so familiar? I do think certain things are passed down through our genes and through our DNA, and the shared memories, the collective memories of our ancestors are passed down. And it's interesting then when you can draw the lines. Well, I do this because of this person, or this is similar to the characteristics that person have. So not only did our physical stuff come from, genetics, but I think also a lot inside as well. And just a lot of memories are just built in, the instincts of how we do things or why we do things, or different things that strike our interest, hold our interest, or become our talents. I have found from talking to family members come from, oh, well, Aunt so and so did it, that, or your grandmother, whoever. And I think I'm very, very fortunate to have on my mother's side of the family, uh, they were farmers, and it's a very, very long history that's well documented because they were in a collective and family. They had, actually, my mom's family has a land grant in 1748, and so it was four brothers that had the grant, and then it was, divided. So up until my mom's generation, everybody was still there on the farm in the home place. So a lot of those stories are still passed down. A lot of the things that happened were shared memories, and it's kind of sad for me, for my kids to not have had that experience, to not, just because of how life lifed, not in a bad way, or as we moved out in the world. And my husband happened to be in the Coast Guard, so in central North Carolina there's not a lot of ocean for him to coast guard on, so that kind of made us move around a bit more, and it just changes the dynamic, and the history kind of takes a little left turn. But I think there are the certain things that you can pick up, and I can definitely see it in my children, what their interests are, what they like to do. So yeah, home, and I think that just all comes back to the feeling of home. But I think now, most of all, uh, trying to create that, or to keep home just a comforting spot for my kids to want to return to, um, so that it's can allow them to grow up, so when they come home they don't have to revert back to 10, just like I don't have to revert back to some of my things, and I think home is ever evolving, but within the conscripts of what where are we in life, so what becomes more important. I think that's where, for me, home changes. Okay, at this moment I'm feeling this way, therefore the color of my walls, the energies I'm getting there, becomes more important. Or I'm feeling this way, so the smells, oh, sorry, that was my desk. It's definitely interesting how at different times of the year, different parts of things become important for what we need to, where we derive our comfort, or the settledness of ourself, to center ourselves. Oh, it's also metaphysically interesting. And me rambling to a camera. Whoever thought? you know, Whoever thought? But it's just, why I'm like this today. I'm very nostalgic. Ooh, I'm gonna go make me some tea, probably some rosebud tea after this, because that makes me feel really prissy. It's really gray and rainy, and I think that's why I get all woo woo. And me and Mark we'll get up on this sofa and we'll drink our rosebud tea. I might dump some rosebud water on him because he smells like a dog. And we'll just do our things. Yes, we will just do our thing. He's liking this lunchtime live. It's the only time I really, right? Do you, so my friend, she has roses. I love adding rose into my food. And you can get like the rose extract or the lavender extract. And then if you like do but just a sugar cookie. And instead, oh, my kiddos are doing great. We're getting ready to go tomorrow to move my daughter from an apartment into a little house. She found a house. She's going to be living all by herself, which she is okay with because she's very much an introvert, but that would have freaked me out at her age. I couldn't have done it. So we go tomorrow to do that. And my son Daniel, at 19, he just finished taking his trade course. And it's a difficult time. It's, that 19, 20, when you're not going on a university path and you're trying to figure out what you want to do 8 to 9 hours a day, it's a tough place, especially when you've been in school. It's like I told him, you've always had a structure. So he's kind of just doing that. It's just 19 and 20. It's just what it is. But when so up, and there's my daughter right there. She just sent a picture. It must have been a picture of her house. I'll check later. But he's doing well, and I just keep saying, the good news is you have a place to live, and your bills are paid, so you have time to breathe, and we'll find just what we want to do. And it doesn't have to be a lifetime commitment, but let's give something a try this week. So he's got some stuff lined up, and we're going forward. But just 19 and 20, when you finish school, we finish your trade, and you're ready to start looking, it's just a stressful time. Glad it's not me. I survived it. He will too. And that's what I told him. I am so glad that my children were close in age, that we could go through. We're able to transition to young adulthood together and not have one trying to transition and then the other still being, little kids and at a different age. So I'm definitely so very, very, very grateful and thankful that they're at least on the same age and page with it all. So that is the good news, and we'll survive. And Della, it's crazy when she comes home and will say something about Daniel. I said, well, Della, you're 21. Remember 19. Certain ages are like lifetimes apart. It's almost like 16 and 14. It's like these even to odd numbers, 22 to 19. That's a lot of, or 20 to 22. Those 2-year jumps for a little while are still pretty, almost like lifetimes are lived in between them. Whew. But that's okay. We're getting towards the end of this first chapter with everybody. Leo was a cool dog, my dog that passed away in August, but there's something about a little lap dog that just looks at you with love every time you look down. I've never had just a lap dog. And he just, let me see if you can see the look. He just gives me the look of love. Stares in my eyes and then goes pees on my floor if he's not watched. I'm telling you. That's why he has to look so cute. Don't you? So, and I think there's something about dogs that always, my mom always had dogs in our house. Oops, sorry. Things got wild. We have had Marley since Thanksgiving. Not long. Just since Thanksgiving. Yeah. He's had a harder transition to us than we had to him, because he was with an 80-year-old woman who had gotten him right after her husband passed away. And he was a baby. So anything he wanted, anything that came into the house was his. I mean, he was, you always think some animals, oh, they're spoiled, but I never seen a dog like anytime you brought a bag in, he really, truthfully, thought it was a toy for him. That there should be something there, and he really got upset. Then he wants to look on the counters, and like that day he grabbed that apple. Walking around with an apple in his mouth because he's a fruitcake. But yes, these dogs are absolute angels. Yes. How is your daughter's dog doing? Is your daughter's dog liking your husband anymore? Yeah, but he's definitely. I was trying to teach him how to ring a bell, and he just carried the bell around in his mouth and then growled. So he's had a tough transition learning that life didn't revolve around him, and that he doesn't get to have nonstop everything around. Yeah, I mean, he was definitely spoiled. But now he wants to work. He wants to hunt. He wants to be outside chasing those birds and those rabbits. Coco doesn't want anything to do. Well, that's good. At least they're getting an understanding, and isn't it funny? I mean, dogs are just like people. Some people, they just, I don't like you. And there's nothing that was ever done. There's nothing that could ever change that. Some animals just don't like you. They don't like how you look, how you smell, how you walk, how you move, anything. I mean, it's crazy. Well, there could be other animals around that just absolutely are. Oh, he's so ready for a nap. All right. Other animals that are absolutely fine. Yeah, that's the best you can hope for is a mutual understanding. Just you stay on your side of the room and I'll stay on my side of the room. So yeah. But Lisa, when I get back from next week, because then we're gonna go move my daughter into her house, and then she and I are gonna spend some time getting her house put together, and then we're gonna come back here. I'm definitely gonna get some bottles and find some ways to make really cute bottles, because I really do think those are great hostess gifts. Or if you're going someplace where everybody's gonna be drinking, to take a fancy bottle just kind of makes you feel less like outcast. And I'm working on that with my children. Just because you're at a keg party doesn't mean you have to partake in the keg. Always take your own cup. And if you put a cup with a Coke or an orange juice in it, nobody knows what you're drinking. So you can drink whatever you want to drink. Just say, no, I'm fine. Let's see. My younger son is moving out with a woman he's been in a relationship with for a year. Oh, your daughter and son are gonna split, but Coco will decide at some point where she wants to be. What will your daughter do if she decides she wants to be over there? Oh no. Well, yay. Yep, my little rescue girl is not okay with who she is not okay with. Yep. We just gotta respect it. Yep. Well, how exciting, Lisa. Got kids adulting on your end, and your daughter's almost out of school for the summer, and Jim's got her dog. Jim, you have 2 dogs or 1 dog? And Jim, poor Jim, she has a horse that's in love with her. We could all be so lucky. I'm telling you. He hasn't finished his master's yet, hopefully in December. Yeah. What you gonna do? Uh-huh. Well, congratulations. Yeah, Della just announced that this summer she's looking into graduate schools, and she has, I know she'll get to the right school, and the school that she's been at right now has been just beautiful for her, and she's grown, and she has worked so hard at adulting, and she found just the most. She started with the executive counseling to work directly on her executive functioning skills, the reasoning, the not procrastinating, and so she got like a life coach counseling, but through a center that works with anxiety and stuff, and it's changed her life. It has totally changed her life. Things that it's almost like to have somebody right there with you. It's been the best thing ever, and now I feel very comfortable with her graduating this year, with her even living alone. She found the house. I mean, I was for splitting the rent with somebody, but she was so excited. She had found the house. She talked to the realtor. She'd gotten everything set up. And for somebody that 2 years ago couldn't even make a phone call without having anxiety or panic attacks, and then taking 72 hours to recover from the phone call, it's been such a tremendous thing. So you want a house, get a house. There you go. That's where we're going. That's your reward for your hard work, So yeah, well, congratulations on getting your son through school as well, and we'll get them all figured out. And then it's like I tell them, work hard, because adult diapers are expensive, my darlings. Yes, everything we do now, we do with love, but knowing, yes, yes. The path is like I tell them, the path through your 20s is just twisty, turny, and full of thorns. But you get there. You definitely get there. I seem so wise when I sit here and talk about it without all the tears behind it. The late nights of crying and the phone calls to my husband while he's at work because I'm in a panic attack. Boy, I sound like I have it together. I love YouTube. It's the lie of YouTube. So in the background, it's me walking around in my pajamas for 2 days, crying. Because what are we going to do? Oh my gosh, what has happened? I should have done better. But it looks good now, doesn't it? So anyway, there you go. I just crack myself up sometimes when I'm like, oh, wow, this is what it all looks like. Notice how we're always facing the clean bookcase. Yeah, because the other side of the room is not so clean. But my bookcase is clean. The little things we do in life to get through. Well, I'll go light some candles and drink some fancy tea. Oh, I was telling you about the roses. My stupid nose is, I think I'm allergic to the dog. Anytime he gets to my lap, my nose starts running a little bit. I have to get tissues. But yeah, probably am allergic to them. So I love the rose tea, just rosebud tea. Uh, and then, once you make that, you can use. I just get the dried rosebuds that are consumable. Make my tea from that. But if I drink too much, I definitely will give myself heartburn. But then you can also use the rose water on your skin and on your making a short yesterday. The house. Hey, make a short against a wall, right? Oh, I get it. I get it. And I think back, like when I was growing up, we used to clean our house from top to bottom, like 3 times a week, vacuuming, dust, everything. Oh, I had a sister that was really ill, but I just think, but I guess with a house full of people, it's a different dirt level too. But I'm like, it's not that bad. We'll just scoop all that up with my foot. And yeah, I really think I'm allergic to him though. Yeah, we'll just scoop it all up and throw it to the side. What you gonna do? But so one of the other things though, my friend, she just planted a bunch of roses, but they're the roses that have a really good scent. And she's not putting anything on them. So I said, oh my goodness, I can get the go get some. And I love to do, when I did the candy cranberries, well, you can candy rose petals the exact same way. They're so good. They're so good on cupcakes or just to eat, just straight. I love those. And the violets are good. I love candying. Yeah, I know. I do know when it needs good sprucing up. And then you figure, that's why they have maids. Can't we hire a maid? Rosehip tea, yeah. I like the rosehip. And I like the rosehip oil. I add the rosehip with my castor oil because it thins it out some and absorbs, and also that's what I put. I'm missing a chat behind. I'm actually cleaning. Yay! Get it clean. Get it clean. We just enjoy listening because I would enjoy listening to my voice. I think I'm getting in a mood. I'm getting in a sassy mood. But the rosehip oil, I got it to mix with my castor oil, and I did notice. Yes. Yeah. I don't know. So I have been trying since January to really, or a couple months ago to really start working on this channel. And December, I finally retired. And thank you, Jim. I finally retired, so I'm really trying to find a way to be productive during the day. And that was when I finally said, okay, let me go ahead and do an 11:30 live every day for just 1 hour, because that is going to give me the structure to the rest of my day. That will force me to get up, force me to at least put clothes on for an hour. I can guarantee you when I get off of here, I'm going to go. It's rainy. I'm going to go put pajamas back on. But I did my hair. I did my makeup, we had a talking. Yes, that's, oh, yay. I love thrift store shopping. That's one of the things we're going to do when we're up in Winston. Around here, there's just nothing but, I'm real close to Virginia Beach, and I'm real close to Norfolk, and it's military transfer season. And also, it's a big time for retirement, people that are retiring, moving around. So it's a great time to hit the thrift stores. Oh, and shoot, who was coming down? Somebody I knew was just getting ready to move to Houston. I don't know who it was. My sister goes down there all the time. I'm gonna come shopping with you one day, Lisa. We'll get on that plane and come on. And Jim, I'm gonna come horseback riding with you. I'm gonna do that before. Well, I was gonna say before I get too old, but you're never too old to ride a horse. There's certain horses if they're too hot, but Yes, that'd be great. But I was offered a job one time at the Houston Ballet as their costume designer, but I turned it down, and my life took me in a different direction. We could have been neighbors if I had taken that job. Oh yeah, I definitely think so. But somebody was just mentioning that, and you were the first person I thought of. But I'm like, oh, my friend Lisa's there because we're buddies. And my friend Jim, she wasn't there when I did my 1 week tour of Canada. We went up through, it was when my daughter was going to, I need to go see, but yeah, back in 1994, I was offered their head design position for their costume designer. So, yeah. Yeah. No, I'm going to come up because when we did Toronto, we literally did Toronto, and we were driving from Niagara Falls. We were driving over to Ottawa, and we stopped in Toronto for an afternoon. Then we went to the museum, and that was it. So I didn't even get to do Toronto, and I need to. We all need to. Yes, we do. But now that my husband is a government employee, and so he was at home for years and years, and now that he's gone back to the office, it's kind of also messed up my traveling because of the animals and stuff. Oh, just the 2 dogs here, but Marley said lunch is over. He got down. That's so funny. I definitely now know I'm gonna have to take an antihistamine before lunch. So that's what I'm using my lunchtime live, 1 hour, 11:30 to 12:30, to organize my life. Give me a reason to get up, or no matter what, where I am, tune in and be here, say hey, and decide what author. Yeah, yep. They will anchor you, that is for sure. But in a good way. In a good, I mean, honestly, I could travel, but poor Summer. But she would stay. I mean, she doesn't need to go out, and he just has to be left in a diaper if he's taken somewhere, but or left here. I just wouldn't trust him all day. Yeah, I'll be here at 11:30. I might be riding in the car, but I will be live at 11:30 to 12:30. I am Monday through Friday. I'm committed to doing it. If I can't make it, I will make a community post or post a short saying, "Oh, here's our live." But yeah, that's what I'm doing on this channel, and talking about whatever. So we had our talk about memories, and we'll see what I come up with. I never did get my lotto scratched, so maybe I've won some money. We'll find out. Wouldn't that be nice? Because Della, my sister and I are taking Della over to the casino. She's never been gambling, so I'm like, come on. So that's another thing that's happening in June next week. I can't believe we're already in June, and then before you know it, we'll be in September. And then once September hits, for me, it feels like the year's over. You know, I'll be having to get Halloween stuff all set. All set. So, my daughter and her friends just did a Comic-Con, and they won some award or something for, I don't know. I don't know anything about it really, but she won something, and now they have to come back next year to perform at some halftime show and the Comic-Con thing. So I promised her, I asked her, I didn't promise her. I said, if I make costumes for myself and your dad, can we come to Comic-Con to watch you and your friends? So she said yes. So I got a year to work on that project. So it might take me that year. Yeah, exactly. We got to get out and enjoy even this humid rain. Maybe I'll go for a walk in the rain. I haven't purposely walked in the rain in a really long time. That'd be a good life. I'm going to do a video about my facelift. Lord. Yeah, right? Oh, she might be embarrassed, but see, I'm pushing now to get into my outrageous years. So I figured, I've held it together for a long time. I raised these kids. Now it's time to let the outrageous outrage. Oh, yeah. Well, in a good way, till I'm 80. Then it's all coming out. So they're doing a schedule there. So, yeah, I am using this live stream from 11:30 to 12:30, Monday through Friday, to anchor me and to use it as an anchor. I used to teach aerobics all the time. That's what I did, because I figured if I was going to exercise, it was better for me to get paid to exercise. But when I had my own businesses, so I was working from home, I've always worked from home, that gave me, motivated me to get up and to keep a schedule by having that scheduled. And so I said, okay, I'm not uploading like I should, but yes, I can't wait. Come on, girl, we'll be outrageous together. So I'm using this to anchor me and to say, okay, that's one thing, Monday through Friday for just 1 hour. And if I cut it a little bit short, I cut it a little bit short, but I'm gonna definitely do it. Got in the habit of guilt tripping me for. Oh no! I'm so sorry. To set a boundary. And you're allowed to set boundaries with your parents. Trust and believe as part of growing up and being an adult to say, when this conversation starts, I will have to walk away. Yes. Yep. Yep. So you just have to, it is okay. I'm giving you permission in order to have a healthy relationship. And this is one thing I told my daughter, and we've worked very, very hard on. Matter of fact, my son and I had a growing moment when I had to realize he wasn't 14. He'll be 20 next month. I have to not loving her. Well, then that's very sad that she would feel that way. You know, that you can't, but if you can read it as guilt, like, so with my mom, she would always push, like, if I couldn't be somewhere or do something, it would be that guilt, that guilt, that guilt. But I finally was able to hear she's saying she misses me in a very unhealthy way, which is why she got into all the unhealthy stuff that happened in her life, because she didn't have the skills. So I'm able to say, you know, if you want to see me, let's make plans. But please don't say that. And I know it's easier said than done. And it's like I tell my children, because they witnessed me at 50 some years old, 52, 53, maybe 55, getting in a screaming fit at my mother's house and going upstairs and pouting and getting under the covers of the bed. Really? Come on. And it's like I tell my kids, you guys saw that. I want you to have a better relationship with me. Let's work it out, no matter how hard it, how bad it hurts, so that at 55 years old, you're able to speak to me. You don't have to scream at me and then go pout in a bedroom with a cover over your head at 50 years old. You know, yeah, you just, you can do better. And it's hard when it's the first generation. So when we broke generational curses, like, mine was the first to move out of it, but yet I still carried so many more. So with my children, I remind them, and by doing that, I'm reminding myself, I'm allowing you to do better than me. Be better, use the words, and be happy with it. Because who wants to be stressed and not just say, yeah, that was not right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's breaking generational curses takes generations. So we do what we can in our generation, and we keep moving forward. And as long as we're open and honest with it, then we give each other room to grow and develop. And nothing in life is stagnant. Just like you're a different person than you were 3 years ago, for better or for worse, your mother is. And I think for a lot of people, the aging process, it's scary, and you want to grab things familiar, or you just don't have the vocabulary to say, hey, I miss you. Can we spend time together? And now my mom got a very different reaction from me when she called me just the other day and said, hey, I miss you. And I was planning on coming up. And I said, oh, why don't I just come up and stay the week? You're right. We haven't been together, and I miss you too. So I think as everybody works and learns together, but it's hard if it's one person doing it and the other person doesn't think there's anything wrong or whatever. So yeah, it is. Hold on, I got she says I need her. She's right. You know, and here's another thing. I finally just started calling my mom every Sunday, but my problem with calling my mom, truthfully, is anytime she gets a phone call, she'll say, oh, the phone's, you know how it buzzing, I gotta go. Well, who do you think is calling you? It's on a Sunday. It's more important than you can't talk to me. And it has always really, really hurt my feelings. Like, we'll be talking. Now, I understand during the week if she's waiting for a doctor's appointment or waiting for this or waiting for that. But she'll say, oh, you know, so I said, okay, I'll only call her on the weekends. So I know who's calling. It's another family member. And then I feel like, oh, well, you feel like they're more important than me. and I get my feelings hurt. Yet, I haven't talked to her about it. So, I do have that conversation that I need to have, and I need to have it before I get so mad I'm yelling it. And that's what this is what I tell my kids. I'm trying to teach you guys to do it that way and be better, because I'm just starting to learn the skill of I can bring things up before I don't have to let them explode. So, yeah, it's a whole thing. So anyway, we're at our hour mark. Thank you, ladies. My mom, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's never easy. I mean, I think the hardest thing, one thing I've always told my kids is whether we probably wouldn't have picked each other to be around if we weren't born together, you know, but we're stuck together. So how are we going to make this work, you know? But here we are at our 1 hour. I thank you, ladies, for being with me today. I love you so much. And Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 12:30, I am going to be here. So if you have the time, jump on in. If you come up with a topic that we can chat about, bring it up next time, because we're just going to do open forum, or you can drop it in the comments. So I love you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Stay fabulous and do something just slightly outrageous. I will. Bye, guys. Love ya. Didn't shut off, did it? Okay, let's try it again. Ready? Got it.